Hey all, it's Jennifer, the Bohemian Intuitive. How are you today? I wanted to um, expand a little bit on a subject that is near and dear to my heart, and that is the subject of um, reading with integrity. Very often in my practice, both at Libra and Thorn, in person and then online, I will have clients come to me and tell me that they kind of got scammed. Someone DM'd them and said they had a curse, so they paid them all kinds of money. Um, they go into a reading, and the reader may feed on those fears in order to hook them into buying more readings. This really chaps my hide because tarot reading in itself already is sometimes a challenge in as a business, right? I'm not saying you can't make a beautiful business out of tarot reading, but I will say there are already stereotypes and uh, issues. We'll say, I mean, even is it Pennsylvania that the woman, I forget her name, is going to court on the 22nd of July in order to actually read legally because there is a very old law on the books saying that any kind of divination is illegal. It's part of her spiritual practice. So she's taking the government, the local government, to court to fight that. So there are already roadblocks in place, right, for readers. And when someone is scammy, it hurts everybody. So let's talk a little bit about how to vet a tarot reader. Number one, do they have some kind of online presence? Do they have a business license, an LLC, or a sole proprietorship? How long have they been reading? And you can ask these questions of a reader. You don't have to um, just upfront pay for a reading. And I would not be offended if someone emailed me and asked me some questions. I think they're being smart, right? A few red flags, if you will. If a reader on any platform DMs you and says, I feel so called, I have a message for you, that is a scam. And very often it'll come from what looks like a legitimate reader. Those are copycat accounts often, who are preying on people who are in a vulnerable position. That DM is like phishing, like a phishing scam that likely went out to as many followers of that person as they could send. It won't be specific. I have a message for you. I'd like to read for you. It's only $5, right? That kind of thing. As readers, we don't go through our day uh, really thinking about other people and their issues unless they are coming to us for that. If I was tapping into someone else's energy and then DM'd them and said I have a message, that is so predatory and gross, first of all. So even if it wasn't a scam, that's still really icky, okay? I don't tap into anybody's energy without their permission, and you should not let anyone tap into your energy without permission, okay? Second, that $5 is going to turn into removing a curse for $2,000 pretty darn quick. Often these scammers are, it's really nefarious, and it might not even just be a person behind it. It very likely could be an AI, like data blitz. Do you know what I mean? It might not even be a person. So please don't ever respond to a DM from a reader saying I have a message block and delete immediately. Make sure that if it's someone you follow and if it actually is them, block and delete. That is super scammy behavior. Okay. I talked a little bit about an LLC and a business license. In Tucson, all fortune tellers, that's what the umbrella term is for readers or divinators here, we are required to have a fortune teller's license, which includes a significant background check. It took me about 3 months to get this license because the background check was so significant. Now, I'd already had 2 fingerprint cards because I'd worked in mental health where I needed a fingerprint card, and I've been a teacher for years and needed a fingerprint card for that as well. So my fingerprints were already in the system, and I already had been background checked for those things. But they felt was so significant, I had to go down to the police station, actually get the inked fingerprints done. They had to send it away, do the whole huge background check, and then approve me or deny me, but they approved me for my fortune teller's license. And if I don't have a fortune teller's license in the city of Tucson, not only am I liable, but then the shop that I read at could be also shut down. So here it's taken very seriously. Okay. I have other thoughts on that, but I am background checked, right? Look for reviews. Just like if you were buying something off of Amazon, I don't know, a microphone for your computer, or a piece of furniture from another retailer, you would check reviews, right? So looking for those. I think a lot of the best ways to find a reader is word of mouth, honestly. So, ask people who they've worked with before. For referrals, that's how I get a lot of my business, is through referrals. And again, I am a full-time tarot reader, Reiki practitioner, and sound bath facilitator. So this is my full-time gig, right? And this is why it's important to me. It breaks my heart when people, or even, I don't even want to say people, because again, sometimes it's AI now that are sending these messages out, and they hook and they know what to say to get money. It's not even like one person behind these, okay, these scams. It breaks my heart when people are vulnerable, are in a vulnerable spot, and come and get a scam tarot reading, or someone reaches out to them, right? Those scam artists are preying on your vulnerability. That brings me to another point. Usually, a legit tarot reader is not going to give you a reading in 5 minutes. If they're advertising readings in 5 minutes, that is likely an AI reading. It's likely, and if it's not AI, it's like a pre-recorded script that they send out to many people based on the question that they get. It's like a pat answer, okay? There are no tarot emergencies, okay? Often if I have a client come to me who is incredibly upset and very out of their own body, so to speak, because they're so upset or something has happened that has really upset them, I have asked clients to come back when they feel a little bit more grounded, because when they're in that completely activated moment, they are not really ready to receive the guidance that the cards have to say. Now, sometimes they are, but most of the time, if someone is in a real tarot emergency or advice emergency situation, they're not yet ready because they haven't even integrated or understood exactly what happened. And this could be a relationship falling apart. This could be some emergency at work. This could be some health emergency. This could be all kinds of things, right? But there are no tarot emergencies. And that is why on my website, I say that if it's a recorded reading, it's 5 to 7 days before you get the reading. Okay. And this is why my Zoom readings, not just, I also kind of book out, right? But this is why my Zoom readings are also booked out about a week out. Okay. Because if someone needs a reading right now, they're likely not going to hear the message that they need to hear because they're not ready for it. Now, if someone really insists in the shop, I will do a reading, but I will do a short reading, right? I'm not going to say, I'm going to trust their intuition. I'm not so egotistical to know everybody's motives or things, but that would be a 10-minute reading, and I hope you come back when we feel a little more grounded and ready to hear what the cards have to say. Okay? Readers who play therapist, this is another thing that can be really challenging. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. Readers who, I'm trying to be careful of how I say this, right? The cards will give advice. I am never going to give advice, right? When someone comes into my reading room, the first thing I say is, let's spend the first 2 or 3 minutes talking about your question, and then we're going to ask the cards. And I start shuffling so that we can get right into the cards, right? So remembering that your reader is not a therapist, so trauma dumping on your reader is really not going to help much. Obviously, giving context is important, right? But treating a reader like a therapist is putting us in a reader in a precarious position, right? Because we are good listeners and we do hear it all and we do not judge. At least I don't, right? I've heard it all. I also dump what I hear at the end. Like, I ask my guides to kind of wipe the slate clean, so I don't really remember your reading. And I am certainly not going to gossip about your reading after the fact either, right? Confidentiality is important. So I feel like I've been a little all over the place in this video, but this has been happening a lot lately where I'm getting people coming in who have really been damaged by predatory readers, even predatory AI readers, predatory data. You know, this doesn't even have to be, like I said, a person. It can be a group of people behind a computer sending all of these DMs out to people who follow readers. It's really important to do your homework before getting a reading, and it's really important to be grounded before getting a reading so you can receive the information that cards that your guides have to say in order for you to integrate that information or find it helpful, right? I hope this was helpful. Just a little chat about reader integrity. This is Jennifer, the Bohemian Intuitive, wishing you much love and many roses. I will see you next time.